What's going on? This is Andy. I'm here to give you some of my favorite selections for No House Advantage's Sunday Pick'em contest. I hope my Saturday selections are going somewhat well for you to this point. The games are still ongoing, but on Sunday we're gonna have we're gonna start with a couple of really random floater players that most people don't even really think about, talk about. But we're going to start our lineup with a couple of those. If you haven't played in any of these contests before, I don't know what you've been waiting for. No House Advantage is a great new fantasy platform where it combines player props, fantasy, and all you got to do is pick the correct player props. It's going to show you the majority of the offensive players from both of these games, and if you can pick the correct ones in succession, you're going to move to the top of the standings and bank thousands of dollars. Then there's a Verse the House feature where if you pick any 5 player props, you're going to make up to 20 times your money. And if you go to No House Advantage using the link in the description of this video, they're going to match your first deposit up to $50. So if you deposit 50, they're going to give you an extra 50. You should have done it yesterday, so you can use 50 on Saturday, 50 on Sunday, and on to the Sunday picks we go. I told you I was going to start with 2 random floater players. You ready for the first one? We're going to go with a little Chris Moore in Houston. Why is that? Because they have such a low total. He topped 100 yards last week, and the main reason we're going to take the over on his 2.5 receptions is because once again, Houston is going to be without Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins, their typical top 2 receivers, and they're playing Kansas City, who most likely is going to run up the score on them. If you look at the spread on this, they're the number 1 offense in the league, so to keep up, Houston's going to have to throw the ball, or even if they're down 3 touchdowns, junk time. We need 3 catches from a player who's going to be on the field for almost 100% of the snaps and who topped 100 yards last week. So give me the over 2.5 receptions for Chris Moore. Then you got the Panthers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for what it's worth, Sam Darnold has breathed new life into the Carolina Panthers. One guy he hasn't really breathed any life into is Terrace Marshall Jr., and I'm going to take the under on 3.5 catches for him. He really hasn't been able to have a signature game while Darnold has been there. Some of his better games earlier in the season were with their backup, PJ Walker, and he really hasn't been hurt from these last couple of weeks, and I'm going to look for that to continue against the somewhat rejuvenated Steelers. I don't think they're going to have Pickett playing. We'll see. But the Steelers have obviously been playing a lot better lately. I think they've won 2 of 3. And the way that you saw Carolina get these 2 wins, it's a lot of Foreman, some timely defense. So I'm going to take the under 3.5 catches. Then I'm going to go down to New Orleans, where there's a forgotten about running back. Everyone was kind of excited about this guy earlier in the year, thought he was going to have another huge year. Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram got injured. He's out for the year. For whatever reason, they haven't been feeding Kamara the rock as much as they should, but this is the perfect matchup. You got Atlanta at home in your building, a game where you need to win because you're actually still in the division with that awful record, so they're going to need a win, which means it's not going to be playing any sort of backups. I think they're going to ride Kamara in this one. They got a low total for him in the 50s. I'm gladly going to take the over on Alvin Kamara rushing yards. Then I'm going to go up to Chicago, where the Bears are hosting the Eagles. They got Justin Fields, who's had a great second half of the season, mostly on the ground, but he has been pretty good through the air. But I'm not taking him to throw over 1.5 touchdowns against that Eagles defense. Even if he has a good game, it's going to be him and Montgomery on the ground, and then maybe 1 touchdown. I'm not taking him for 2 touchdowns. So give me the under on Justin Fields passing touchdowns. And then lastly, I'm going to go to Jacksonville. They're taking on the Cowboys. I was stuck between 2 picks. Maybe you should take your favorite one. I think Dak is in a good bounce back spot. Very lackluster week, but they got through with a win. When you get through with a win in a game you might have lost, I think you breathe a sigh of relief and you start to click the next game. So you can either take the over 1.5 touchdowns for Dak, but another one in there, the under on Travis Etienne rushing yards. He had that mini burst midseason, but he has cooled down considerably. They're not even giving him the majority. Well, they are giving him the majority of the work, but not as much as they were when he was having those blow-up games. He's seen his production taper off dramatically, and I think that's going to continue. The Dallas Cowboys defense has been pretty good all year, and the way Trevor Lawrence threw the ball last week with all those weapons, I'm going to look for him to continue that in what could potentially be a rather high-scoring game, but I don't think it's going to happen through Etienne. So give me the under on Travis Etienne rushing yards, and those are the picks that I got for you on this Sunday on No House Advantage. If you don't like any of my selections, always remember, you can go to Stokastic.com where they offer free projections and free optimal lineups for this exact contest. So you'd be silly not to check out that, because they say the best things in life are free. And right under air is the Stokastic projections. Yeah, I will see you guys before Thursday, where we're going to take part in that pick'em contest. Take it easy. Have a good one. Good luck. And I will see you then.